Hi, I'm Christian.
And I'm Angela, and we are married.
And bored.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, we're here.
We are here to talk board games again.
Let's do it.
I've got my coffee here. I've got a candle in the background.
Yeah.
What are you drinking, Christian?
I've got Coke Zero with cherry.
Coke Zero Cherry.
Yeah, I'm making it super fancy, to use my word, super. Just to take Coke up to the next level.
Absolutely.
Not a vanilla Coke guy. Not really a Coke guy, but they don't make Dr. Pepper Zero. Mm-hmm. So I have to go with cherry Coke Zero.
And you all out there deserve us at our best.
That's
and
right.
Really, there's no way we could be at our best without coffee and
Coke.
Coke Zero
I also
Cherry.
have a mega stuffed Oreo, and it's literally like an inch tall full of Oreo stuffing.
That sounds wonderful.
I won't eat that as we record, but I'm
Okay.
just letting everyone know.
You're just going to munch on that as I talk?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. I'll mute my side, chew on an Oreo, get all the stuff stuck in my teeth, and then smile at you.
That'd be
and then
perfect.
you'll lose your concentration.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Well, on that note,
Should we see what's up?
what's up with you, Christian?
Man, what is up with me? I say that every time. But anyways, how are you supposed to answer the same question over and over again? What is up? We've been playing games. A lot of games, obviously. We do this podcast. Last episode, I talked about a New Year's goal of trying to do a Star Wars RPG with my friends.
How's it going?
So I've been studying. I think last night, I literally sat next to you, who was playing the game we were going to talk about. You were playing a solo version of this game, and I was just rolling tons of dice in front of me, trying to figure out what it meant.
I was happy to play a solo game while Christian did his homework.
I did homework, yeah. There's a lot going on. Just trying to learn what to do so that we can have a good time. But on a bigger note, I feel like there's a lot going on the Kickstarter front for board games. We mentioned this last episode, too.
What was our question?
Yeah, like, have you
Kickstarter.
jumped in any Kickstarter games?
Or
Well,
jumped in when you wish you hadn't?
Yeah, well, of course, right after we had this episode, like two of the biggest Kickstarters, maybe of the year so far, it's 22 days or whatever, but that I've seen in a long time popped up in between the two recordings.
And what are they?
So the first one, if you're following, you probably know what these are. It's Return to Dark Tower, which is a remake of an 80s game that they've modernized and brought back. It's by the same people who did the Fireball Island remake. Restoration Games, I believe it is. So there's a lot of hype around that. I will say that there's been almost $3 million pledged to this game.
Wow.
Yeah. It's pretty crazy.
Can people still pledge?
Yeah, as of right now, there's 8 days to go.
Okay, so about a week.
Yeah, so we need to have a conversation after the show on whether or not we're going to do this one.
Well,
I might be getting sucked into the hype factor of this one because so many people are doing it.
is this the one that's taken like 3 years to
I
make?
think, yeah, it's been a huge undertaking. Dark Tower is based off the Stephen King fantasy book, which I've never read. I didn't see the movie that came out a few years ago, but I just know there's a tower.
We need to see that.
And it's dark.
Yeah.
But it's cool. From the looks of this game, it looks really cool. It's all mechanicalized. Is that a word?
It's like Bluetooth enabled, right?
That's a better word. Yeah, that probably makes more sense. It syncs to your phone. It drops skulls out. It tells you where you're going to go, what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. It's like...
App driven, right?
Yeah, it's a foot-tall thing that sits in the middle of your playboard, and it kind of runs the game for you, a la an app-driven game like Journeys to Middle-earth. Mm-hmm. The downside about this one is that it is so expensive.
How much is it?
I don't even know if I want to say. I think I told you, so I can... This wouldn't be dropping knowledge
Well,
bombs.
people can just go online and look, so we're not saying anything.
Yeah, so
crazy.
the base game is $125, which seems pretty steep. Like the big box games that we own, like Rebellion and The Lord of the Rings, like I mentioned, those are $99 We've gotten a ton of play out of those, so like I don't feel bad being on this side of things.
Right.
Up front, maybe I was a little hesitant in paying that much money. Now the problem with Kickstarter is I pay that much money in 8 days when it closes, And the game's not even expected to ship until February 2021. So that's my huge hesitation there.
So it kind of feels like you're paying for nothing right now, but a year from now, it feels like you're getting a game for nothing.
Like a free game just came in the mail.
Right, because you paid it so long ago.
I guess so.
Interesting. Well, we already have something planned for what we learned about each other in our marriage, but instead maybe we should just talk finances for the Dark
Should
Tower
we do
game.
our finance talk for the month and let everyone know how that goes?
Just kidding, everyone. We won't do it. What's the other one?
Yeah, so the other one that's really big right now is called Oath: Chronicles of Empire and Exile. It is by the same people who did Root.
Yeah, it looks like it too when you look at the art.
And I don't know as much about this game. This is also a hype game for me too, like because Root was so popular. And it's like currently we can't find it anywhere. We'd love to play it and do it for the show, just because it looks fun and it's cute. I guess is the word.
They look cute, but I hear they're deadly.
I guess so.
I hear it's a very competitive game as well.
Yeah. So this one is more like a legacy style game where every time you play it's different, but you don't need the same people every time to do it according to what it says. So this one's a little bit more lighter on the wallet. It's $90 all in, which isn't bad. The one thing that I do love about this one though is that they're from St. Paul, Minnesota. I think
the makers.
I think so.
Oh, really?
And if I'm wrong, I apologize, but I swear I read that. Leader Games. I'm gonna look that up.
He's gonna be checking all his facts.
Well, Angela talks about her. So I guess my question then for everyone listening is, did you see these Kickstarters? Mm-hmm. And which one should I get? I've got 8 days, guys. You got to let me know. You got to Instagram or email me at the show, Married and Bored. What is it? hello@marriedandbored.com or Instagram @marriedandbored. Let me know which one you should get or not get.
And that's above and beyond our question for
the
episode.
Is just help me out. Help me help you. Help Angela get on my side to buy a game.
Okay.
I think that's what I'm trying to say.
Okay. Well, Christian's putting out a personal plea to everyone out there.
Yeah, there we go. So that's me. I'm following Marvel Champions, of course. Ooh, speaking of Marvel, there's going to be a new Marvel game on Kickstarter soon. So it's like all Kickstarter all the time. There's a lot of hype around it right now, which is hard.
What's that game that you're referring to? The one that is on Kickstarter?
Yeah, it's the Marvel one.
Yeah.
It's by Cool Mini or not, Simon.
Yeah.
So the same guys who did Blood Rage and like Zombicide. It's a miniature game. It's co-op. Angela, it's co-op.
Okay. I'm nodding, but it has that...
It's got a weird art style. It's
what's that art style called?
Chibi?
Oh, okay.
It's almost like anime style miniature. So they got that giant head and like small bodies.
I don't love it.
It's almost like the Funko Pops.
Yeah.
Like how they're just kind of skewed funny. If the game is fun, I can definitely get past that.
Sure. Okay.
But there's no news on when that one's coming out. So I would be super bummed if I paid. Let's just say I bought both. Probably won't, Angela.
Spoiler.
If I get 1 or 2 of these, and then this other one comes out, and it's like, oh, here's another one, and bonus, it's coming before these two. Like that'd be a great Kickstarter, but it'd be pretty crappy to have to wait. But
all these decisions to make.
yeah, well, I'm gonna look up some information about leader games or letter games.
Okay.
But Angela, while you do this, or while I do this, what's up with you?
What's up with me? Well, I feel like first I should start out by giving a little update on my last episode, What's Up, which was that I was attending Christian's work board game night. They have these, I guess, pretty much once a month, and I have never been to one. So last week?
It was last weekend, yeah.
Okay. Last weekend, I went to my first work board game of yours, board game night of yours. And it was fun. I think it surprised me. We probably packed about 9 games.
We did. This is what I do at these things because I always ask my guys at work, what do you want to play? And they just go, they never answer. So if you're listening, everybody, just say something so I know what to bring. So I don't have to bring 9 games and then we use 2.
I think it worked in our favor because they would have never picked these games because they didn't know about them.
That's true.
So, and I even think, like, Okay, I'm going to go on record saying I've been proved wrong.
Yeah, you need to...
I need...
Is the term eat crow? Is that what it's called?
You know nothing, Jon Snow. Well, whatever the term is called, I do need to apologize for saying that I wasn't looking forward to playing Captain Sonar.
Well, you not only said you weren't looking forward to it, you said it was the worst purchase of 2019.
I did not.
Yeah, that was the least... That was the game that we had. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I am so sorry. Everyone, here's the deal. To defend myself a little bit, I've only played it 2-player.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think it says on the box that you can play it 2-player.
You can, and that's...
So it's not like we were doing anything against the rules, but it just was methodical.
It's not the full experience.
So then we played it at board game night at Christian's work, and there were 4 on each. No,
we had
3
6 total.
3 on each team. So yeah.
Yeah. Ideally, I think you want 8, so everyone has a roll.
Yeah.
But we had to double up, which was easy.
But so we played. I think as we were waiting for people to stroll in, we played Codenames. But then once everyone was there, this was the first game we played, and I think everyone, maybe even Christian and I, were kind of assuming like, oh, we'll just try this out, and then we'll play like the real game of the night.
I thought we'd do 1 or 2 rounds and then jump into something more beefy like Western Legends or Blood Rage that they all love.
Yep. So we started playing this with 3 on each side, and we played. It comes in 2 forms. You can play turn by turn, or you can play real time, where everything is going on at the same time. And turn by turn was good for learning it, because I think even though Christian and I had played it, we needed a little refresher, and then no one else at the table had played it. So we did turn by turn to kind of get the rules under our belt, and then we wanted to experience real time, because for 2-player you can't do real time. You have to do turn by turn.
There's way too much maintenance.
Yeah. So we were like, well, we want to at least play real time once. And then once we played it once, I looked at Christian, I was like, we're playing this the rest of the night. It was so fun. It hit just like that button in me that loves like working a little bit during a game. I don't know. That sounds so sad and pathetic,
Well,
but
it's not easy.
I like keeping track of things, and I liked that there was, the co-op element was I had a team, but then the competitive element was that my team was playing your team. So, and by the way, at this game night, Christian and I refused to be on the same team.
Yeah. We didn't want everyone to think like, oh, well, these guys play so many games and they'll just win.
So we're just going to gang up on people.
So we purposely were like, yeah, we're not going to be on the same team.
Yeah.
Whatever we play.
Yeah. So it was fun. And I had a lot of fun being proved wrong. That was... Not only was it a great game to play, but I requested to keep playing it the rest of the night.
I'm looking forward to playing it again, I think, with those guys. I think everyone had a good time. It's easy to learn once you get it. That doesn't really make sense, but it's really fun to do the different roles.
Yep.
Now, I enjoyed being the captain or like the engineer person. I didn't get to be the person who listens across the board. Did you do that one at all?
I didn't, but I don't know that I would love it. But maybe I could be proved wrong about that.
Yeah. And you also didn't like the captain, right?
I didn't like the captain.
But like your math brain, former math teacher, like it's like drawing a graph.
I don't know what it was that I didn't like about it. I think it was that I felt very responsible.
As a captain would.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm the captain now.
Yeah.
I didn't feel... I felt more suited to the engineer who kind of took care of the captain.
It's very motherly of you.
Thank you. Well, that wasn't my only news.
That's true. You have so much news today.
Sorry, guys. I'm jumping in with like the big update here.
That's all right. I talked for a long time about Kickstarter. And by the way, Leader Games, St. Paul, Minnesota.
Oh, thanks for that update, Christian. I'm just going to continue on. I went out for a girls' night to a tabletop restaurant bar, and it was a new experience, and it was in all sorts of ways. I've never been to a tabletop bar or restaurant, and this was both. I've also never played games with just girls.
It's true. And this place is not just an Arizona thing. It's in a few places. So it's called Snakes and Lattes.
Yep.
So it might be where you are. If it is, let us know. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
But you had a good time.
Yeah, so I was just really impressed with their selection. I guess I just thought that because of where it was and what it was and that it was popular, it was just going to have kind of party games.
Yeah. Apples to apples.
Apples to apples. And that's fine. Like, hey, I enjoy a good party game every now and then, but I was only going with 2 other women. So I think I said on the text, like, hey, let's make sure that there's 3-player games. Like that's because I was just picturing party games.
Like monikers with 3 people.
Right. It's not going to work. And I was proved wrong there. I'm just batting very, very low.
Yeah, you've had a humbling game month.
And I had a really good time. These 2 ladies I went with were very open to the idea of playing games, but they were not gamers.
It wasn't your idea to go to this place.
No,
either.
which is funny.
Yeah.
I think they were trying to appeal to me because they knew about the podcast.
Right, because all you do is play games.
Well, okay. I also mother our children.
True.
And I'm your wife. Anyway,
True.
I don't need to list my credentials.
That's true. All right.
So we had a fun time. They weren't going to play deep strategy games, but I was really surprised to see a whole shelf of, there was Wingspan, there was Root, there was Star Wars Rebellion.
It was like every game we owned was there.
Yeah. The only thing I didn't see, which makes sense, are app-driven games.
Yeah.
Like Mansions. I didn't see, Journey in Middle-earth. But I saw Dead of Winter. Everdell was there. There was all these new games as well, like not just old stock of stuff, but I was surprised. Like Wingspan's a pretty new game.
Yeah, it's in the last year.
Mm-hmm. So we ended up playing some that were a little less intimidating for people who've never played board games. We played, is it Catch the Moon or Chase the Moon or...
You played Splendor too, right?
No, we took it down off the shelf, but we didn't have time to play it. And then we played Azul.
That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Azul.
So that was fun. And I had a good time. And I would love to go back with Christian.
Yeah.
Someday.
That'd be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to go with you.
That's good.
That's good. Let's talk about our game for the week. What are we talking about next week? Or next segment, Ange?
Next segment, we will be back to talk about Spirit Island.
See ya.
Welcome to Spirit Island.
That was very intense. Just like this game is super intense.
We are going to be talking about a very intense game called Spirit Island. And you know what? Just as a side note before we start, this game, as far as being featured on our podcast, kind of snuck up on us.
It did. We borrowed it from a good friend of ours.
It's the first one we've talked about on the podcast that we do not currently own.
That's true. Yeah.
But I hope to prove by how many times we've played it that we know this game very well now.
People play way more than we do, but we played this game so much in a short amount of time.
Yes.
We had a day off a couple weeks ago for Martin Luther King Day, and Saturday and Monday, I think we probably played 4 games each day or something.
I've played it a lot solo, so let me start with a description.
So we decided that, we need to.
We need to just review this one.
Yeah, we need to talk about it.
Just talk about it.
Yeah.
Review is too harsh of a term.
We just talk about games.
We're just talking.
Yeah.
Just relax. We're just talking. All right. Spirit Island. Let me tell you what it is. It's cooperative. It's a strategy game for 1 to 4 players. Each player is going to take on the role of a spirit. And collectively, the spirits are going to work together to protect their island from invaders who are coming to colonize. An anti-colonization game. Love it.
It's like the opposite of the games that you normally play. Mm-hmm. Like even video games are like you washed up on a shore, you're by yourself, go find wood and chop down trees and kill animals and make stuff.
And instead, Spirit Island is saying, You are the spirits that inhabit this land. Get those invaders out of there.
Right. This game gives me, you know what kind of vibe it gives me? Kind of like a Moana vibe.
Moana, yes. That's exactly right.
Yeah, with all like the Maui spirits and the I don't even know the names. The green goddess girl who's in Maui.
The heart of Tafiti.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the crab, Tamatoa.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
You pulled that one out. Good job.
It's kind of like, in my mind, this is the Moana game.
It's the Moana game.
Yep.
I don't know if that's selling it for anyone. So
No,
let's
but
talk
like
about...
that's just
That's where your mind goes.
Yeah.
I get it.
it's got similarities as well, is all I'm trying to say.
I agree. It does remind me of Moana. How easy is this thing to set up and tear down, Christian?
Oh, well, I would probably rather watch Moana.
Than set up and tear down this
Yeah.
game?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's break it down.
Yeah.
What's the hard part about setting up?
There's so much going on in this game. It all looks neat. But there are miniatures, there are invader miniatures, and that means there's little explorer people, towns, cities. There's little blight tokens, which are bad. There's spirit tokens, which are good. And you got to make sure you have yours, and I have mine. And then we have a board, and then depending on what map you do, you can arrange it in a certain way.
So the map is different than the player board.
Yep. And so you could there's two sides to the map. So you want to do an easy game, you want to do a hard game. You can do that. There's scenarios, there's cards, there's magic powers that are all card driven.
There's invader board with invader cards.
That's right, there's that separate board.
There's a fear deck. I mean, there are so many components. So many.
Yeah.
And there's also the added bonus of setup and tear down not being any easier no matter how many times you play it.
That's true. Sometimes you just get used to where stuff goes. Because there's so much... Because every time you play it, it could be set up so differently. You kind of have to, like, slow down
Yeah.
to make sure that you get everything correct.
Yeah, because an adversary, which are the kingdoms that are coming basically to inhabit this island,
Yes.
could change the setup.
Yeah.
A scenario could change the setup.
And there's 6 scenarios or something.
Yes. Playing an adversary and a scenario together could change the setup. Playing the thematic side of the map, or what is it, real terrain?
Yeah, well,
What do they call
there's
it?
one that looks more like Catan-ish, where there's like different colors, like this one's water, this one's grass, this one's mountains. And then you turn it over, and it's more epic, like Lord of the Rings. There's like a mountain range in the middle. There's sand on this side, because it's a desert.
And it makes more sense in real life.
Mm-hmm. It's how a real topographical map would be laid out.
Yeah, it's not like the types of terrain are spread out evenly. Mm-hmm. It's like the two mountain spaces are close together.
Yeah, and there's a ridge that goes through the map. So those are all mountains. Mm-hmm. Then on one side it's a jungle. And on one side it's sand. And it's cool. It's very neat.
There's a lot of cool art to look at. But in terms of setup and teardown,
It's a beast.
it's a lot of work. And you have to set up each deck each time.
Yes.
So like the invader deck. You have to set up the fear deck.
Yep.
You have to set up the board with certain number of miniatures, depending on which side you're playing or how many people you're playing with or the setup or the scenario.
And then each spirit has starting cards that you have to find and
So-
give them to yourself.
There's a lot going on. This is not for the faint of heart in setup and teardown.
No, it's not. But we made it through.
We can do hard things, Christian.
We conquered. We conquered setup and teardown many times.
So even if you lose the game, just know that you've conquered the setup.
That's half
Of
the
this
game, right?
Okay, so you're probably going to be thinking about the answer to this question before we even say it. How accessible is learning to play with all these?
Yeah, I mean, with
Tokens and
that
setup.
intro of it's impossible to set up almost, it's not going to be an easy game. And it wasn't.
No, it was. Let me just paint you a little picture.
Okay.
Not you, Christian.
Oh,
our listeners.
I thought you were going to.
We were sitting down to play this, and going through the rule book, which we'll discuss later, is a different issue. But it just has, it kind of drained us. Just our brains had to be so engaged with what was going on. This is not a relax and chill game.
No, it wasn't.
And you've got to be with people around the table that will all be willing to... First of all, they've all got to have a foundation of board game knowledge.
Like deck building, worker placement. I put this here because I get this.
Strategy.
Yeah.
They've got to be in that frame of mind. Usually with cooperative games, you can sneak new people around the game. Like even if just one person is a board gamer and like the others are newbies, you know, you can kind of...
Yeah, come play Pandemic. I'll teach you how to do it.
Because it's cooperative. We're all on the same team. So those can be more accessible. This one, even though it's cooperative, everyone needs to know what board games are, strategy board games are. They all need to kind of have a base knowledge of what each spirit's powers are to know how to work together.
Yeah. There's time. The timing is a really big deal in this game. Timing. When to play the cards, and if you play it, and if you, so many times in playing this game, I'd be like, "Oh, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do this, and it's gonna be awesome." And then I look at the card, and it's like, "Oh,
you play it after the invaders."
I can't play this until all the bad stuff happens. Yeah. I can't stop the bad stuff. It's a reaction to the bad stuff. Mm-hmm. So that was very frustrating at times, and it's just it is confusing when you're in that moment going like, okay, wait, I need to play this card so I can play this card, but I can't until next turn because blank. Like, there's so much happening.
Your head is going to get a work. Your brain is going to be thinking the whole time, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but this is not going to be like super easy to learn how to play, even for people with board game knowledge. I would say probably not even attempting this one with people that don't have board game knowledge. And just a little background of why. Do you want to tell the story of who we got this from and his experience?
Yeah, so we borrowed it from our friend, like we said, and he bought it for his family. He loves games. He plays with us, quite a bit. And so he's like, oh, I'm going to buy this and we'll play it at home. And he's got 2 young boys who are a little older than our kids.
So it's cooperative. Mm-hmm. It's got cool art. Yeah.
And even he was like, man, after like 2 turns, I think my wife was out. My kids definitely had no idea what was going on. So I ended up playing a 4-player game.
All
by myself. And we were talking the other day and he was like, yeah, I had a headache. It was not a good experience.
It's unforgiving in that way. You have to really know what you're getting into, which, to be fair, we didn't at first, but then we decided to persevere through.
Right. It's a popular game. Like, it's up there on the BGG all-time list, like number 20 or something. It's actually, number 13.
Wow.
Which is crazy high. I understand now being on the other side of it, which is why we wanted to play it, and I'm sure it's why our friend bought it, because it is so popular. But we didn't realize how difficult it is.
It's difficult.
And I don't think we're alone with that opinion. There's a lot of people online that had contacted us or responded to our posts that were like, you had posted like, oh, we lost another game. And everyone's like, you kind of do that a lot in this game.
Yeah, you kind of lose a lot. And I think if I'm remembering right, like in BGG, they even said the weight of it, like the complexity of it is a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, it's pretty high.
So it's a weighty game in that sense. It's a complex game. And so it's not for the faint of heart in setting up and tearing down. And it's not for the faint of heart in learning how to play. You have to be ready to really learn a game.
Yeah, you have to dive deep in order to make it worth it, which, as you know, is a category that we have later on. Yes. So we won't touch on that very much. So we've had 2 of our categories that have sounded pretty negative.
We're just trying to give you a realistic picture.
Most of the games that we've talked about, I don't think that we've been like this far on one side. Like we've said a lot we've liked.
Yeah.
There hasn't been a lot that's been like, ooh, not sure.
Right. I think, Rebellion has a setup and teardown similar to this.
True.
In that it's a lot of components. It never gets easier to set up and tear down.
I would equate these first categories, these 1 and 2 categories, with Rebellion.
Yeah.
Both of them are very hard to learn. They're very hard to set up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I love Rebellion, so let's see where this goes.
So let's see where this goes. All right, so the next thing we want to talk about is how immersive is this game.
Yeah, this is your favorite category, I think.
I think I do love talking about...
You do love talking about it the most. Mm-hmm. It is immersiveness. I think just the fact that it reminds me of a movie is a good step in that direction.
Yeah.
You feel like you're the spirits. You feel powerful at times.
Mm-hmm. But weak if you're far away from like your central hub.
Yeah.
Which they call sacred site.
Right. So you have like different areas that you control. The more pieces you have in that area, the more powerful you are. So like as you spread your wings or talons or serpent, whatever it is, you start losing power because you get farther away from your power source.
Yeah. And it is thematic. There's a whole section in the rule book, which I think they title lore. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's just the story of what this board game is and where you are entering it as you play it.
As a spirit.
So it's like the history of what's gone on, what the island is, who the invaders are, how long ago they came, how the Dahan work. I hope I'm saying that right.
Yeah,
Dahan.
One of the cool things that makes it even more immersive, there's like native tribes that inhabit these islands that, well, they worship you, right? Because they're
they worship the spirits.
They like the spirits of the island. And so that you use them, they use you to boost each other, and you can use them to fight off these invaders.
Yep.
So that's a really cool and immersive part of the game.
And I just like that the game mimics history, but from the other point of view. They even say in the lore section, it's not supposed to be, reminiscent of any specific history, but it does make you feel like you're on the anti-colonization side of things that have actually happened in like American history, or I'm sure other countries as well, as
all.
as lands get invaded by foreigners and they blight the land by doing things that's harmful to the land, and instead of being on the side of destruction, which is the invader side, now you're on the side of the inhabitants of the island working with the spirits,
you want to
and
repel
saying,
them.
Get out of here. So I liked that. I think that like there was times when we would play and there would be these thematic moments that just felt cool, kind of like reminding me of Marvel Champions when you have like a superhero moment, like when She-Hulk just gamma slams for the win or something.
Like 22 points.
I'm trying to think of an exact one. I remember you were playing a fear character, a character that does no damage but compels the invaders to be fearful and push them out.
One of the aspects of the game is fear, and you make the invaders so scared that they don't want to invade more. And so as you do more of that, it increases the round timer for you to win. So if you do a ton of fear, you can win quickly.
Yeah. And
so that's kind of a cool mechanic of being like,
we scared him away.
Yeah, exactly. Like you made whistly, spooky noises in the forest. You get 3 fear or something.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I remember one, I was the ocean spirit.
Ooh.
I don't know the names. They have really cool names. But this one is unique because instead of being on the board in like the mountains or flatlands, you're on the coasts of the ocean, and that's all you can be. You can go in one space.
Yeah.
And it has a cool mechanic of like kind of like the tide going in and out. You'd be able to put your spirit into the land and then you'd take it out again.
And you'd suck invaders with you.
Yeah,
So you'd get
and
to
so
drown things.
Yeah. So you'd pull them into the ocean and drown them. And that's how you would get fear, because obviously drowning is scary. But that's how you'd get energy to do more things.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things they did is there's this card called Tsunami, which just devastates everything on the coast.
It's an expensive card, too.
Yeah. So I knew we were going to lose this game, and I just wanted to play it. And so I saved up round after round. And I was like, Tsunami! And it was cool because it wiped out a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
But it didn't help. It was a fun thing to play.
And each spirit we talked about in the setup a player mat, and on that player mat or board, you have a history kind of that spirit, what they're good at, what their story is.
Yeah, what their story is on these islands, and what the Dehan or natives think of you.
And I think something that could have made this more thematic. I don't know. Maybe if it wasn't actually from a movie or book. Maybe.
Yeah, or just history. If it was Greek gods or something.
Yeah.
Or ancient Egyptians. There's a ton of, what's the word I'm looking for?
Mythology.
There you go.
Yeah.
Around those guys.
Yeah.
And people are familiar with Ra and Set and all those Egyptian guys. That would be cool.
Yeah.
I would be totally down with that.
But it's very thematic. It's very immersive. I think it's doing well if I can't really think of things that could have made it more thematic, except for...
No, if it would have just, instead of being neutral, you can tell that some of them are based on Zeus or Thor. There's some that are lightning, and some are river gods.
Yep.
That you can kind of make parallels to.
Like Poseidon.
Yeah, to those ancient Greek or Egyptian gods.
Right. So I think this is pretty thematic. Is it the most immersive game we own, in my opinion? No. Also, we don't own this game, so... But
technicality.
Yeah. Is it the most immersive game I've ever played? No, I think...
No, for us, I think immersiveness also means story.
Yeah.
And so this game, now it does have story elements. You just have to search for them.
Yeah.
They're not a part of playing the game. They're
Right.
not I'm opening this door. What's going to happen? You're dead. That's a good story. Well, that's not a good story, but...
Mansions has the music and the app, and that kind of does it for me. Same with Journey in Middle Earth.
Rebellion for me. It's just a great story that you can create playing this game.
But this one's definitely thematic, definitely immersive.
Yeah.
Just maybe not a 10 out of 10.
Sure. I will agree with that.
Hey, we agreed.
Yeah.
Look at us.
Can you believe it?
Okay, so tell me, how fun is it? Is this a fun game, Christian?
For me, fun is not the right word.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I would say good answer on that one.
I think challenging is probably the best word for this. Now, if challenging equals fun for you...
Like me.
Like you. So then, yes, it's fun. For me, I mainly play games to have the traditional sense of fun. Or definition of fun.
Like relaxing.
Let's just hang out.
Easy.
Yeah. There's sometimes I like to think. Rebellion is a big thinker. Stuff like that. This one is a big thinker, and we played it a lot. And so, the more I played it, I was just I'm not having no fun, but I'm not loving it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Maybe too much in a shorter period of time.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I can see that. Challenging is probably the better word for this game instead of fun. And in the classical sense of, did you go out and have fun?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't say this game is that type of fun. I would say it's, it's hard work. It's
hey, what did you do last night? Oh, I went to the movies. What did you do? I did my taxes.
Okay, it's not that bad. No, it's not that bad. I was going to equate it more towards, I don't know if we've ever mentioned this on here, but I used to teach high school math.
You did, yeah.
So I have a bachelor's of science in math education, and so I taught juniors, seniors, and even in college. I just remember the working on a proof or working on solving systems of 3 equations, and this game reminds me of that. it's a lot of work, but then at the end when you get your answer or you have a
Win,
successful
yeah.
proof or you win this game, like you feel super accomplished, super satisfied, super proud. But would I say that, writing proofs and solving equations is like fun in the classical sense? No, same with this game. It's not like blow your kazoo, wear a party hat fun. So that's what it reminded me of. So if you're looking for a challenge and you want to have a sense of accomplishment and like kind of pride at having put forth so much effort and thought and winning the game, hopefully, then...
Yeah, I think one of the times I actually had fun playing this game was we were playing it and you thought so badly that we were going to lose this game. There's just like, there's no way we can win this game. And then literally like 2 turns later, we won.
I was like, oh, look at that. I think we just won.
Yeah, like it came... That was a fun moment because it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
We increased that fear factor, and so the win condition got easier and easier. And then all of a sudden we flipped this card, and it was like, hey, all you have to do is kill all the buildings, or the biggest building.
One building,
and
yeah.
we're like, oh, there's only one left. I kill it.
Done.
And we had won. A little bit anticlimactic, but it was just kind of like, oh, we did it.
Yeah. And so that was fun. It was like, oh, we got a win when we thought we weren't going to get one. Okay. I would say it's fun in a challenging way.
Okay. If those 2 words are equal for you.
Yeah, if those 2 words are equal for you.
For me, not so much.
Good caveat, yeah. Okay. Is it worth it? How replayable is it? And the cost of it and all that.
Yeah, we mentioned at the beginning during setup, there's so many variables that you can add to this game to make it different every time you play. That alone makes it a super easy purchase for most like veteran gamers.
Yeah, because you
like
can
us.
change the game in so many different ways. Also, we forgot to mention, and this would maybe help you in your decision making about whether to play this game. They do have a section on how to make it easier.
That's true.
As well.
That's true.
If you find that it's too hard.
Which we did 1 or 2 times.
Yeah.
Because the first time we got worked.
Oh, yeah.
And it was that first night when we were learning how to play it and our heads hurt anyways. So the next time we played the easy mode a couple times.
Yep.
Just to get our feet wet and get like the mechanics down. And then we took that away. And then we started adding, just stacking difficulty. Which was awful at times.
Which Christian didn't like. He's like, hey, if we've figured out a way to win,
why don't we just do it?
Why don't we just do that? And in my head, I'm like, yeah, but I want it to be challenging and win.
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, I think it's the replayability on this is, so vast.
Yeah. My favorite thing about this game is that I can be something different every time. And it plays so different. It plays almost like a new game. Mm-hmm. Like when I play something like... Now, Marvel Champions is the same way for this. But if I play something like Dead of Winter, like the characters don't really do that much stuff differently. Mm-hmm. They have minor things. But I'm still playing the same game of searching through stuff in the winter and zombies or whatever.
Yeah.
This one is just like, well... Because I'm playing this guy who's so focused on fear, I have to do that.
Your strategy changes.
And there's like a defense guy, which for me is really cool because when I play games, I usually do like the guys with tons of HP and shields and health and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I had fun doing that. And then I just tried another one who was the opposite. Like they attack really fast and
purely
they get out
offense.
of it. Yeah, and it's just different experience every time for me. So that's cool.
And the adversaries and scenarios are optional. Mm-hmm. So you can add them in if you want, and you can add them in together. And each adversary, there's 3 adversaries. Each adversary has 6 different difficulty levels within it. So that's 18 different adversary options you have. Then you could forget the adversary if you want and just do a scenario. I think there's about 6 different scenarios. Or you could play a scenario with an adversary.
And each scenario has different difficulties, don't they?
Yeah, that's what I mean. So each adversary has 6 different difficulties.
Oh, okay. It's just adversary. Yeah, you're right.
So there's so many ways to play this game differently. I think it's well worth your money. Now, that being said, we should probably answer the question everyone might be thinking. Mm-hmm. So, are we going to buy this game since we don't even have it?
Since it's not ours.
Yeah.
Thank you, imaginary podcast sponsor, for letting us borrow the game. I don't think I would.
Okay.
I don't think I'd run out tomorrow and buy my own copy.
Okay.
And then maybe I'm biased because my friend has it.
So you're thinking, like, why buy the boat when you know the person who owns the boat?
Yeah. But I feel like there are other games where I would do that.
Okay.
Something a little easier to play more often.
With others.
Yeah. Or like just you and I, like this, I said it a bunch already tonight, so I'll just say it again. Marvel Champions is probably my favorite game right now. Like if I would have played that at my friend's house, I'd have been like, I gotta go get this.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you would have needed to have that right away.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that I'm going to be really sad when we have to return it to our friend.
Yeah.
I've been really enjoying playing it, not only with you, but I've played, maybe 4 or 5 solo games.
Oh, did you? Mm-hmm. I didn't know it was that many.
Yeah.
Secrets.
I know. So I've been really enjoying that I can just play it by myself.
Now that makes setup much easier, I've noticed.
Yes, but I still have to set up a full fear deck.
That's true.
I still have to set up a full invader deck.
Never mind.
It
just looks smaller. That's the only thing.
Well, yes. So this playing surface is smaller because I only have 1 map and not 2 or 3 or 4. But I still have all the pieces. But for some reason, I think it's because once I find a game that challenges me, I get kind of sucked in.
Yeah, you do. Now, let me ask you this then, from a solo person, because I'm not a solo person. Mm-hmm. Of all the games that we've had that you have done solo, like where does this one rank?
Oh, okay. Well, I think it's easier to understand how to play the solo version of this game than it was to understand the Automa of Scythe. That I had to look up a lot of stuff for the Automa of Scythe. But
you did Robinson solo.
I've liked playing Robinson Crusoe solo. I played Marvel Champions solo, which I didn't really like. I kind of liked the experience of like being a superhero team.
Yeah, Avengers, duh.
Well, okay. Just telling everyone out there. I haven't played the Automa of Wingspan.
Oh, I thought you had.
Oh.
But maybe I was
there.
just looking outside and saw birds, and I was like, "Oh, she must be playing Wingspan."
Tweet, tweet. And I played the solo of Mansions.
True.
This one's up there in the solo experience for me.
Okay.
That's why I think I'll miss it.
Yeah. No questions there. I think you will too.
But I don't think I'm running out to buy it either, and here's why. Because we don't need to buy any more games.
Okay. So that's a different category, and we're going to pause it and talk about that now.
Just
kidding. One thing I wanted to mention too, in terms of replayability, there was a Kickstarter for an expansion of this game, like a big box expansion that hasn't even shipped yet. It's been like, I want to say like 14, 15 months, and it's going to add so much more to do. It's going to bump it from 4 to 6 players. It's going to do 10 new spirits.
Wow.
Which is like double. There's new adversaries, new scenarios. That's wild.
Yeah.
With the amount of variability that you can do on this game.
Yeah. And also when there's an expansion coming, even if you don't buy that expansion, that just makes me feel like the game is kind of more relevant, more alive.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool.
Yeah, it's good. Like if you're like we mentioned, if you're looking for a challenge and
you've got the right people to play it with.
Yep.
Or if you're looking for a solo challenge.
That's true. It'd be a good pickup.
Mm-hmm. All right, so of course as we played this game, we learned a lot of stuff about each other and our marriage.
We sure did.
So we'll be back to talk about that. All right, it's that time again, Christian.
Marriage.
Marriage. All right, we learned a lot about each other and our relationship playing this game.
Yeah, mainly how we approach rules.
Rules.
Board game rules.
Yes, not just rules in life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it maybe a little bit, but mostly just how we approach learning games and how that's different.
Okay, so I'm going to explain how I approach a rule book. And then how about you explain how you approach it? So in general, and this, we don't talk about, this isn't like direct conversation, but in general, what's going through my head is that, especially when we're learning a new game, you read the whole rule book, even the background, front to back. You read the whole rule book, even like the tips and tricks or like options for a streamlining gameplay or
Example
whatever.
Of play.
Yeah.
Darren places one piece.
Oh, well, that might be an exception. I don't know if I read every example of play, but
fair enough.
Okay, so maybe that's like maybe I was.
So you do skip some stuff.
I do skip like examples of play unless I'm confused about what the rules are saying about that step of the game. But in general, read the whole rule book front to back. And if I realize that we did something wrong as we were playing the game and learning it, like let's say 2 turns ago, I will sit there and try to think of how we can reverse and rewind our actions to undo that thing we accidentally did wrong, according to the rule book, and then go forward from that point on, because it will plague my mind that we did something against the rules, and then if we win, I'll feel like our win is tainted.
Yeah,
because
like steroids in baseball.
Sure. Wow. That's exactly it. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. He didn't really hit that many home runs. He didn't follow the rules.
Right.
So he has an asterisk next to his name.
Exactly right. Okay. Well, how would you view the rules in the rule book?
I'm all about asterisks. Is that how you say it?
I don't know.
Asterisks. Nailed it. This is what I look for in rule books. Now, when we learn how to play games, which we've mentioned before, you just take the rules and you go. Yes. And I just listen and then I go. But once you get past the point where it's like, if I know the player steps, I'm like, let's just go.
Like, let's just play.
Let's just play. And then we can fill in the gaps when we need to. If we have the core of what happens each turn, that's enough for me to say, let's roll the dice, let's draw the cards. And then if something comes up that we don't know or doesn't make sense, then we can look deeper into the rule book.
So, for instance, just so everyone out there kind of gets an idea of what we're talking about, Christian would say, okay, I get the player steps. We understand all that. I get the round sequence. Let's just play. And if we come into a situation where combat is necessary, we'll read the combat section.
We'll look it up because I don't want to wait for you to read the whole combat section.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, but I think a lot of what games are doing well these days is most of the stuff that happens is printed on the card. It's on your player board. So you can get an idea, even if you've never seen this card before. It'll tell you, take 2 damage from whatever. Most people who've played games before, they can figure that out. Mm-hmm. Now, there's always contradictions to the rules, and that's where
the golden rule applies.
Right. So, like, if something isn't clear, you look in the book. But sometimes a card will overwrite what's in the book. Mm-hmm. So go with what's on the card. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my strategy in learning games.
And what if we realize that 2 turns ago we made a mistake? That we did something against the rules when we didn't mean to?
Oh, NBD.
No big deal.
No big deal.
Christian just thinks, whatever. Yeah. Doesn't matter. Let's go forward.
Ultimately, for me, it's about fun. Mm-hmm. And so if we have to reset 6 turns, or not 6, that's an exaggeration, 2 or 3 turns, just so that I can play a brick instead of a sheep when I wasn't supposed to, like, I don't see the point in that.
Yeah.
Even if we get to the end and we win, and we go, oh no, our trains aren't allowed to cross water, whatever the rule. And we're like, oh, Well, we still won in my mind.
Interesting.
And just next time, our trains won't cross water.
So we've always had these deep-seated beliefs about rules, but this game maybe brought those to the forefront.
Yeah, maybe this might be my favorite rule book ever because of this one section in the rule book.
What did the section say?
It was kind of
Christian?
funny. So we had played this game once or twice.
No, I think
Did we find it right away?
it was either the first or second time.
Okay, once or twice.
Oh, sorry.
And we were looking something up. So I think at the time we were doing my method of gaming, where we were playing, and we're like, "Oh no, what happens? Let's look it up." And Angela found this section, and she started just kind of laughing at herself. And what did it say?
Well, it feels like it was written just for Christian.
Just for Christian.
So here's what the section says. It says, "Whoops. You suddenly realize that for the past 4 turns, you've been using a power card on lands that don't actually target. What to do? The answer is, don't sweat it. Especially on your first play or two. You'll likely make minor mistakes here and there. They're unlikely to break anything. The game will just be slightly easier or harder. So long as everyone's having fun, it's all good. There's no need to try and, quote, rewind and fix things. Just take note of what the correct rule is and use it going forward."
Do you feel that?
Do you feel the energy in that?
So good.
Okay, so since this is the podcast episode that is just about Angela being proven wrong, it's throughout the whole thing.
I guess so.
I will say that I have reread and reread and reread this box, and it is speaking to my heart a little bit.
Is it really?
My little gaming heart.
I did print this out and put it on your mirror. So tomorrow morning when you wake up, you'll see that in the corner.
Are you whispering in my ear as I fall asleep
No,
as
I don't.
well?
I don't do that. That's creepy. But it's just one of those messages that I'll leave for you.
And here's what I'll say. I'm kind of learning. This box has summed this up in a way that I've never heard or maybe just never been willing to listen to before. Like when Christian says, "Hey, don't worry about it. We didn't know we were making that mistake, or we didn't know we couldn't target that enemy, or we didn't just move forward with the right rule." And I'm like, "No, we can't, because if we win, then our win will be tainted by the fact that we made it easier at the beginning of the game when we didn't mean to." And so this box has helped me realize that maybe there's a merit in your viewpoint.
Okay, thank you. And my theory is that it's in a rule book.
Oh.
So now it's the rules. And so you have to adhere by it.
That's true. It's true. And I will say, even like the whole thing about reading the rule book cover to cover, I couldn't do with this.
No, this is like...
It was
it's like a kid's book. Not a kid's book. It's like as thick as a kid's book with
That's what you mean.
Tons of information on it.
And maybe it was the combination of that and the night we decided to learn how to play it. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to have to do Christian's rule here, where we just play and then we see if a certain situation doesn't make sense, or we're never going to get through this rule book.
Yeah. It was a tough opening act.
So, you know what? Mark another check on the Angela's Humbled box.
Yep.
And it's just to say you can learn things from each other.
Yeah, and we do all the time.
We do.
And one last thing that I wanted to say about this game.
Uh-oh.
Angela swore a lot.
This episode is sponsored by Showit. Hey, Christian, why do we love Showit?
Well, we love it because we are terrible at designing websites.
That is true.
And we were able to make our site using Showit in a couple hours.
Yeah, if you're stuck in like some boring website template, you need to check out Showit and experience what they have to offer. It's really simple. It's drag and drop. And our website, if you've never been there, is beautiful, if I may say so myself.
Yeah, we use Showit to make it, and you can get started for free. Showit.co. Check it out.
All right, guys.
Sorry to throw that one at you at the end of that last segment.
Well, now people know my secrets.
It's not a secret.
It is.
No, it is a secret. It's fine. It was a funny couple moments.
Hey, we all learn new things about our spouses. Some of them are deep and endearing, and some of them are that your spouse swears a lot, and that's fine.
Occasionally.
Okay.
Let's move on. Let's talk about our feedback from our friends, our Instagram messages, our emails. We posed a question over the past couple weeks. What is your gaming goal for 2020? And also Kickstarter. Love it, hate it. Have you ever done it?
Yeah.
So we have a friend on Instagram. Angela,
Yes.
why don't you let us know what he said?
All right. So at my arm is colder than yours. I hope I'm saying it's all one.
Yeah, that's a great name.
Okay.
It's kind of random, but I love it.
We need to know the story behind it.
Yeah, if you want to
So let
send
us
it,
know.
yeah.
And he wrote to us saying that his gaming goal is to just be more involved in this gaming scene.
Yeah.
He's excited that he's on the ground level of Marvel Champions, like you've mentioned before.
I feel that. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, to just play more games and get in there.
And he plays with his wife, too.
Yes.
We
so
share that.
Shout out to that. And then also, he answered the Kickstarter question
Okay,
by
cool.
saying he's just never really been on Kickstarter before in terms of being intrigued to look and find a certain game, but that he's aware it exists. And so curious to maybe hear more about it.
Yeah, I would actually want to ask him, hello dog, that if the two or three Kickstarters that we mentioned, let us know what you think about them.
Oh, so like Dark Tower.
Oath.
Oh,
And then whenever Simon comes out,
okay.
check them out. I'm not saying go buy them. What are your thoughts?
Yeah,
And anyone out there?
Yeah,
like
let
I
us know
mentioned
your
at the
thoughts.
top of the show, I need to know if I need to get these games.
This is his personal plea, remember, guys?
Yeah. So, my arm, cold arm, let us know what you think about those.
Yes. And then with that, we would like to ask another question.
Yeah, as we do every show, the big game is coming up.
The big game?
Yeah, well, not Star Wars Rebellion. No. It's football.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl's coming up in a couple weeks. I love watching the Super Bowl. I'm a huge football fan in general. So no matter who's on, I will watch it. This year, I want the Chiefs to win. I'll say it now. My brother-in-law, John, if you're listening, sorry. He's a huge 49ers fan. Honestly, don't care. I think it'd be cool for either of them to win because it's a new team. So that's great.
I'm
So
a fan of the food
That's
on the
true.
Super Bowl.
Yeah. Although we have to make our own food. It just doesn't appear.
That's true, but I'm a fan of making my own
Food. That's
Yeah.
true. I'm looking forward to that as well. So the question we want to ask is, the big game is coming up. So if you had to win the championship or the national, whatever, the best of the best of what game, what would you choose? You are the number one player in the world in
Blank.
Wingspan, Rebellion, Checkers. Let's keep
Okay.
it in the board game realm. We don't want to say I'm the best basketball player.
Right.
Because there are good basketball players already.
Yes. So we want to know even if a national championship doesn't even exist for this game,
Yeah, like the Abomination World Tour.
what would you want to be the greatest player at if you had to choose one board game?
And you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to say no chess.
No chess.
Or poker.
Oh, okay.
Or poker.
Okay.
So those are my caveats.
Okay.
I don't even know if I can answer this question right now.
I was going to say you have to.
I know, but I'm looking at the games we have and the games I've played, and I don't know.
I think I know what mine is.
What would yours be?
Because I think it would be such a bragging right to be the best in the world at detective.
Oh my gosh.
Because I think you need to be a straight up smarty pants.
Well, maybe
For
if
that
they
game.
had that, I bet the FBI would host that. And they'd say, you have a job at the FBI.
Hey, guess what? You're an actual detective.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Christian, what's yours?
This
do you
one's
think?
hard for me, but I'm just looking over our desk here where there's some games in our cabinet. I think Scythe would be pretty cool.
Ah, yeah.
It's a pretty it can be a pretty competitive game.
Yeah.
And there's a lot going on in that game, so there's a lot of bragging rights in Scythe. But I think it'd also be cool to be the best Star Wars Outer Rim player. Because that would put me at the same level as like Han Solo and Lando. Like, you're a great
Wow.
smuggler.
And can we say that together we would like to be the world champion Marvel champions?
World champion Marvel champions?
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, champion squared.
So what do you want your championship game to be in this imaginary?
Yeah, let us know on
hypothetical
Instagram,
land?
email. You can go to the website. Tons of places to contact us. We want to know what your big game is that you'd want to be the champion of.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I think that wraps this show up. We had a lot of fun talking about Spirit Island. Mm-hmm. We did have fun playing it. It didn't sound like it at times, but we had a good time learning this game, figuring it out, realizing how challenging it actually is.
Mm-hmm. Until next time, protect your island from invaders. And remember, always be humble. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Married and Bored podcast. And guess what? We have a website where you can listen to podcast episodes and so much more. Find us at marriedandbored.com, or you can email us at hello@marriedandbored.com, or follow us on Instagram at marriedandbored. Music in this episode is by Joseph McDade. See you next time. Hey, everyone.
Hey.
It's good to...
You have a text.
Dang it.